Hi. As usual, I'm going to wait for somebody to come on to let me know that my audio is good before I start the show. If you're watching, let me know if you can hear me, and then I'll start. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. And I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for somebody to let me know that I can be heard before I start. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi. So I am Catherine Vitale. You probably know that if you're following any of my pages. I'm doing something a little bit different tonight. Instead of going live on my personal accounts, I'm live on my new campaign accounts that I just created. And I did post earlier that I was going to be going live at 10 o'clock, and it's now 11. So I apologize for being late if anybody was waiting for updates on these things. But I'm live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The YouTube channel is People's Press Media. So please go over and subscribe, like, and comment on the videos under the live section. I use the YouTube channel mainly only for going live. I haven't actually uploaded any videos to it yet. I'm scared to get banned or shut off like I did with our last channel. But if you're watching the replay, please comment and like and share on the video, regardless of the platform, so that it'll keep coming up in people's feeds and they can watch the videos, subscribe to the YouTube channel, whatever. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. And I think right now we're like almost at 200, maybe, if that. It's very hard to get subscribers on YouTube. But so today's been a busy day. Every day is really busy in campaign world. So my brain is mush. But today I'm going to talk about the list, the political hit list that 16 of us have been privileged enough to have our names landed on. And the DESE meeting that happened today to roll out the new curriculum for Massachusetts schools. So, the political hit list. I can share it on my screen if you give me just one moment. Please hold. I'm not really great at this technology thing. We learned about this hit list. I want to say maybe like 9 or 10 months ago. Well, that's a bad picture because her name is highlighted. Let me see. Yeah, I'm just going to use this picture for time's sake. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I have this post that I apparently shared, I think, from Michelle Effendi. That's why her name is highlighted. But this is the email that went from Dave Vittorini, who at the time was the director of constituent services for the mayor's office and has since been promoted to Mayor Wu's senior advisor. As you can see, the email came from Dave and went to Robert Ciccolo, who at the time was a captain for Boston Police and has since been promoted. See a pattern here to, I want to say superintendent, maybe. This email was sent on June 10th, 2022. And 5 days after the email was sent, Robert Ciccolo assaulted me, twisted my wrist, and stole my megaphone at a Mayor Wu coffee hour. So think what you want about the timing on that, but I don't think that there's any such thing as a coincidence. And the email was copied to Tiffany Chu, who is Mayor Wu's chief of staff, and Brianna Malore, who is, I want to say, the director of constituent engagement. And on the list we have, and Brianna Malore, mind you, is the one who alerted the police and kind of put the police into action to make an arrest when Sean Nelson was tackled to the ground by the Boston police simply for using a megaphone in a public space. It was Brianna Malore that set that off. And so we have on the list Rob Burke, who, all right, I'll go through who each person is and what has happened to them since this list came out. So Rob Burke was and is a candidate for Congressional District 8, okay, Steve Lynch's district. So at the time that this list came out or was emailed, he was a candidate. He was on the ballot, and he, at some points did protest in front of the mayor's house, or he kind of actually was doing more filming and reporting than he was protesting, I think. But it was part of the Mayor Wu protests, and he was a political candidate at the time officially. Me, since this email came out, I've been arrested. I was arrested twice after this email came out, and assaulted by the Boston police. I mean, I feel like we get assaulted by the Boston police all the time. They're always like pushing us or putting their hands on us in some way or another. And then we have Shana Catone, who was a Boston police sergeant of 14 years. And then when this list came out, she was on administrative leave for basically exercising her First Amendment rights and protesting the mayor. And then 8 or 9 months after this email came out, she was fired. Sean Nelson, who 2 weeks after this email came out, he was tackled and arrested at Ronan Park at Michelle Wu's coffee hour, and he was arrested again after that in, I want to say, August at City Hall. He's a major target. They've given him ridiculous amount of charges and, completely disregarding his Black life. And he is now a candidate for Boston City Council at large. Michelle Effendi, who is very active on social media and who had been present for some Michelle Wu protests. Wally Ferdinand, I don't know. Padma Scott is now a candidate for Boston City Council, District 7, and was present for the Mayor Wu protests. Shannon Kay, who was arrested a couple weeks after this email came out. And David Rold, who was also a candidate on the ballot when this email came out, who was at the protest. Karina, somebody else who had been at a Mayor protest. Samantha, I'm not really sure if she's been to a Mayor protest. Joe DePina has protested the mayor on his own. And at the time that this list came out, I didn't know him. I'm not sure that any of us knew him personally. At this point, I do know him because, I mean, we all have a problem with Mayor Wu, so there's that. And then the Mendoza brothers from the North End, who we all know what problems the North End has with Mayor Wu. And then the last one doesn't really make any sense. I don't even know what it means. So that's the political hit list. I never shared the screen. I'm tired. Okay, there's the list. Okay, so thank you. Yeah, I can't see the comments at the time that I'm looking at the shared screen, so all I could see was the list. So sorry. But was Rachel Rollins, the U.S. attorney at the time, provided a list? Was she provided a list? From this email, see, this is the thing. This is what's even more troubling about the list itself, because if we talk about the list is illegal. They're not, no government entity is or police are allowed to gather intel or keep a database on private citizens. We're not criminals. We're not committing a crime. I'm not sure if anybody on that list has ever committed a crime. I don't think so. There's absolutely no reason or justification for them to be building a database on us. And this list came about through a lawsuit. So it didn't even come from a FOIA, because we barely get shit back when we do FOIAs. We get nothing. Basically a bunch of nothing. So this wasn't through a regular FOIA. This was through somebody who was suing the city and Mayor Wu or whatever. It came up in discovery or in the records request to do with the litigation that was happening. I don't know. It came through a lawsuit against the city. And so all that we know about this list is that it exists, basically. And so just the fact that it exists is alarming and should have anybody outraged, right? Because if they're keeping a list on us, who knows who else they have database of, because we don't do anything. We don't commit crimes. So I can only imagine what information they have on those of you who do commit crimes. And so we only know what we see on that list. So we know that it was sent from Dave Vitorani to Robert Chicolo and Tiffany Chu and Brianna Malore. That's all we know. We don't know who else has seen it. We don't know who else has talked about us. I know that some people here or there have FOIA'd their own names, people on that list, and never got this email back when they got their records. So we know that they're hiding stuff. We know that they're probably destroying stuff. They probably delete things. I don't even know how that's possible, but we know that the government is corrupt and police are corrupt. We know these things. We all know these things. So anybody who's done a FOIA with any of those names has never gotten this email. This email came through a lawsuit, which it should also come through a FOIA, but it didn't. And we were protesting at one of Mayor Wu's coffee hours, her last coffee hour of the season last week. And we saw Dave Vittorini, who seems to always be with her when she's out. And we just decided to ask, like, what is this list about? What is the context? What was the conversation that happened before the list? What's the conversation that happened after the list? Where is this list stored? Was it printed? Is it hanging up somewhere? Why were 4 people on this list arrested since this list went out? Why are there 7 people on this list who have been political candidates at some point? Like, this is literally a political hit list. What is it for? And of course, I think, if you follow these accounts or like any of our accounts, then you've probably seen the video where we approached Dave last week. So if you want me to show it here, I will. Just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep talking about it. So that happened last week, that we approached Dave Vittorini about the list. And then yesterday, a few of us whose names are on the list decided to go down to City Hall and, do kind of like a protest, occupy the mayor's office type of day, and see if we could get anybody to come out and attempt to even give us the tiniest bit of a justification as to why they would be compiling a list of peaceful protesters who've never broken a law or posed as any kind of a threat in any way. We were able to speak to no one. Big surprise. We went straight up to the mayor's office. There were like 6 or 7 of us. And we made a little bit of noise. We walked through the hall of the 5th floor of City Hall. We went down to the office of the city council. We talked to Tanya Fernandez Anderson, who said that she is going to raise concern about this list. So we will be following up and holding her accountable and seeing what she can figure out about this list. And I won't hold my breath for that, though. And then we went up to the law department of City Hall, and we were met with the same bullshit there. We were speaking to, like, the woman who's up front, ironically enough, the same woman who was with Adam Cedarbaum, when we approached him a couple weeks ago or months ago. I don't even know how long ago that was, at Boston Marketplace. So we were talking to her, Pilar Ortiz, and she was basically just trying her best to de-escalate the situation, calm us down, make us feel like she was listening. And I mean, at this point, or, I feel like it's been this way for a while, but maybe it was more evident in the video yesterday. Like, we're beyond the point where like anybody needs to talk things out and work things out. Like, the people on that list, the people that have been affected by the shit show that we have running the city, what is the conversation going to do at this point? Why would we want to talk to anybody? Why would anybody even think that a conversation could fix these problems? We've been being ignored for almost 2 years now. We've been ridiculed. We've been lied about in the media. We've had the media and public officials claim that we're racist and anti-LGBTQ and misogynistic and all of these things that we're not. Um, and at this point, it's like everybody else who's standing on the sidelines watching, get up and fucking do something. Because today it's us, but tomorrow it will be you. I promise. The world as we know it is changing drastically and very fast. And, you know, at one point, I mean, a couple years ago, I would have been one of those people on the sidelines not caring about what's going on with somebody like me because it wasn't directly affecting me, right? And we've just come to a point with everything that's happened over the last 3 years, and everybody has been so information has been so widely available to everybody that if you know what's going on and you're not speaking out, saying something like live in person in these people's faces or calling them out when you see them in public, then shame on you, because it can't just be the same handful of people every time. And as far as people who work in City Hall, if you watch the video of while we were in there yesterday, we said to the guy that like the head of security for City Hall, this guy Stephen Tankle, we said to him yesterday, like literally we've been pretty much like face to face with you for almost 2 years now, and the same City Hall Boston police officers that are there every time. Like, we've been going through this with you guys for almost 2 years, and you're still standing here saying absolutely nothing. Like, you see what's happening. You know what's going on. The same thing that we were saying to Pilar Ortiz in the law department. Like, you know, the lawsuits that come through the law department, this woman sees them. The people in the law department see them. They know what's happening, you know? And they know that this ordinance was passed that, you know, to ban us from protesting at her house. They know that people's rights are being trampled on, and they're just sitting idly by and either laughing about it or just too scared to speak up, which I understand, being too scared to speak up. I mean, look at what they did to Shayna. They used her as the example, like, step out of line and we'll get rid of you. You know, that's exactly what they did to her. So why wouldn't people be scared to stand up? But I mean, maybe people don't understand if they don't have children, but I don't want my kids to grow up in a world like this. I want my kids to grow up with freedom. And that's why I do what I do, because I don't want my kids to have to fight for freedom. I don't want my kids to have to fight this battle when they're adults. That's why I'm trying to do it right now. And if you know what's going on and you're aware that we are being violated or that anybody's being violated, and, you know, especially the people working in City Hall, you need to say something. The fucking city councilors that see what's happening, you need to say something. You need to do something, you know, just agreeing with us or liking and sharing our posts online. This isn't enough. At this point, you guys need a civil rights attorney. That list was designed to make you protesters appear as terrorists. Time has shown you can't deal or trust Wu. She's corrupted. So Wu is like not even a person. She's a puppet trained at the World Economic Forum out of Chicago, planted here for a reason, to destroy the city. That's why they got Marty Walsh out of here, because no matter who got that seat, the same agenda was going to be rolled out. So if Marty Walsh did stay here, he'd be doing the same things that she's doing. So don't, like, the people that say, oh, I want Marty back. No, he'd be doing the same things. Like, this is and was happening regardless of who's in the positions. But I think that they put in somebody who's not from here, somebody who doesn't have personal ties, so that it doesn't end up like a sticky situation like it would have if it were Marty destroying the city, where he's from here and he has so many personal ties here. As far as a civil rights attorney, I don't trust lawyers. I don't believe in lawyers. I don't like working with lawyers. Obviously, I do when I feel that I have to, and I hope that they're going to do the right thing and I hope that they're going to fight the appropriate way. But lawyers have a license to practice, okay? They're not going to do anything to lose that license. So if you know anything about what has happened to doctors who speak out against the jabs, if you know anything about what's happened to doctors who speak up or who refuse to go along with the program, the same thing happens to lawyers. Okay? If a lawyer goes too far, they're going to lose their license. So why am I going to put my fate in the hands of somebody who's not going to risk their license? Like, find me a lawyer that's willing to risk their license and I might consider it, but even still, most of them want money up front for civil suits and I don't have that. So finding a civil rights attorney, blah, blah, if it were that simple, I couldn't even tell you the amount of lawsuits I could have had over the things that have happened to me in the past 3 years, honestly. So that's what I think about that. Like, no offense, but I don't believe in lawyers. Same way I don't believe in doctors. It's all bullshit. It's all for show. The last civil rights attorney that I knew turned out to be like not what I would expect a civil rights attorney to be like. So, and yeah. Oh, sorry. Wrong one. Sorry, Lynn. People on the right side can't pass the character assessment for the mass bar. Yeah. We know how the people on the typical left cancel people on the typical right for being white supremacists and all of that. So they literally put work into like stopping these people from getting their licenses too. So it's just a no-win stupid circus situation that I'm not really interested in getting involved with. And your case is only as good as your judge, so if the judge is corrupt, which most of them around here are, as far as I'm concerned, how do you see any justice happening to any of these situations? Because I don't. I'm not completely against filing lawsuits. I hope to eventually get some filed, or one maybe. And I think that if you can go ahead and file your lawsuits, like, absolutely, if you have the resources or the money or whatever, file your lawsuits. But I think that everybody, whether they're filing lawsuits or not, needs to be doing way more than that, because it's very unlikely, in my opinion, that anybody is going to win any of these fights in court. So I don't think that people shouldn't do it. I just think that you shouldn't put all your eggs in one big corrupt basket. So anyway, back to the list. Yeah, they have this list of 16 names, and I have seen a decent amount of outrage on TikTok and a little bit on Twitter. So people do seem to be having like a decent reaction to it. I feel like there's a lot of people that are so conditioned to the corrupt way that the government and law enforcement operates that they don't see it as a big deal. Go, what? Yeah, they keep databases of people all the time. Like, that's what they do, and that's how they track things, and intel and all of that. But it's illegal. It's an invasion of privacy. We are law-abiding citizens who have done absolutely nothing except engage in First Amendment protected activities. Like, it's a very big fucking deal. Who knows how far that list has gotten. Who knows what other agencies have seen that list? Who knows what else has transpired because of that list that we don't know about yet? Who knows if there's people watching us? Who knows if there's, the list is endless of things that could be happening because there is a list. And it's probably not the only list. This was just something, maybe it was an accident. Maybe that document wasn't supposed to get put into the files that went, to this lawyer or whatever. Maybe we weren't supposed to see this. Maybe it was a hiccup. Who knows? But I'm sure it's not the only thing, especially since it has been omitted from other public records requests. So, we have literal proof that this email has been omitted from other records requests. So, who knows what else they're keeping from us? It is a corrupt system, and it's corrupt and broken on purpose and working against us. So there's so many things that could be happening, or that likely are happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. Hal Shurtleff used Liberty Counsel. We reached out to them. They pretty much said, good luck. They have too much going on, pretty much, to help us. Please help share this out, everyone. Help get this issue the visibility it deserves. They are targeting good families who've been fighting for everyone. So Shannon just posted the link to the TikTok video that I posted. I took a clip of yesterday's protest at City Hall, and we were there for 4 hours. So I'll probably be posting other clips from the 4-hour live stream that I did there. So watch out for those too. We'll be sharing those around. But yeah, it's very serious. There's moms on the list. There's small business owners on the list. There's political candidates on the list. Black people, gay people, minorities, and they're targeting us for what? I couldn't tell you how many times we've protested Mayor Wu. I couldn't tell you how many other elected officials all over the state that we've protested. And that's another thing too, is that we've shown up to protest other elected officials in other cities or towns in Massachusetts, and cops have approached us already knowing our names. I was approached by a cop in a place that I had never been to before when I didn't drive there in my own car. I was in somebody else's car, and the cop walked up to me and addressed me by my name. I was in a protesting Kim Driscoll, which you would never hear about that in the news, because you'll only ever hear about us protesting Mayor Wu, but protesting Kim Driscoll and the chief of police or something in Salem came, as if it were something serious, so serious that they needed to send in the big guy, when they were maybe 3 or 4 of us protesting her, and she came outside, walked right by us, and we barely even got close to her. We've never been threatening at all whatsoever at a protest. The worst we do is get loud, maybe bang some pots and pans, blow a whistle. I've been face to face with Michelle Wu on many occasions, within less than 5 feet of her. Many fucking times. Nothing bad has ever happened. Nothing bad would ever happen. We're not violent people. We're peaceful people engaging in a First Amendment protected activity. Leave us alone. Yeah, like it was a long time ago that we knew that they were keeping a database on us, but until we actually had this list, we didn't have any proof, you know. We have corrupt judges. Like, I don't think anybody could change my mind about how I feel about the judicial system and actually getting justice there. I don't think it'll happen. Boston needs to be recalled. Mayor Wu, so there is a new website too. If you can drop it in the comments, it's recallwu.org. You can sign up there to be included in the petition signing to recall Mayor Wu. You can't petition to recall an elected official until they've been in office for 2 years, I think is the rule. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what it is. So the petitioning wouldn't actually start until later on in the year, but there is sign up to get updated and to get involved if you would like to help in the efforts to start petitioning to recall Mayor Wu. That is recallwu.org. And it's something like 80,000 signatures are needed. And that's a lot of fucking signatures. So there will be a time where the people working on the effort will be looking for people to help collect signatures. So if you're able to volunteer your time, even if you don't live in Boston, because I know that we have a lot of support outside of Boston, that's where you guys come in, is you can come help collect signatures in Boston. I know that there's a lot of people in Boston that are unhappy with her for one reason or another. So I do look forward to those efforts. And it is not me that's leading it. So for the record, I have way too much to be doing right now, but I'm very grateful for the person who is leading that effort. Anyway, moving on. I'll put that up for a minute. So I don't think I have anything else to say about the list. We are not letting this issue die, because why would we? It's absolutely ridiculous. So as things happen that pertain to the political hit list that we're on, I will update the social medias and keep you guys informed on what's going on with that. So moving on, there was a DESE meeting today. If you don't know what DESE is, it is the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, aka the Massachusetts Department of Education, that controls, that makes all the decisions for the entire state of Massachusetts, all the school districts. Okay, so all of the school districts take direction and regulation from this entity, DESE. Okay. Every month during the school year, DESE has their board meetings. They have a board meeting. It's like the third Tuesday or the last Tuesday of every month during the school year. If there's like excess agenda or like a really imminent issue that needs to be discussed outside of their regular monthly Tuesday meeting, they hold a special meeting the Monday of that week, right? So, and then over the summer, they don't have a meeting. They don't have a meeting in July and August unless there's something serious that they need to meet about. Otherwise, any decisions that need to get made over the summer are left up to the Commissioner of Education, Jeff Riley. So, 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 The last time I went to a DESE meeting, I got arrested for absolutely nothing, just for them to use me as an example and prove a point to the other people that may have been there to disrupt the meeting. Since then, that was August of 2022. And since then, I had a long, dragged out number of court appearances that I need to make for this case. And I was going to take it to trial and have them actually have to put in work to prove that I did something that I didn't do. But I have a lot going on right now, especially with the campaign. So I decided, instead of going to trial, to just take the pretrial probation that they were offering me, that they've been offering me since day one, because they knew the whole time that they didn't actually have a case, and they just wanted to get rid of it without outright dismissing it, because then that would be a win for us to say that it was dismissed so quickly, you know. So they had to drag it out because I wouldn't agree to the pretrial probation. Pretrial probation is basically the case is kind of just like there, like idly, and there's no court appearances that need to happen. There's no checking in that needs to happen. There's no conditions. It's just a specified amount of time. And then after that time is passed, the case gets dismissed. So my thing was, if it's going to be dismissed anyway, then just dismiss it. Why do they have to watch me? Why do I have to like agree to them watching me for a specified amount of time before they dismiss the case? If the case is dismissible, then just fucking dismiss it, right? So that's why I didn't want to accept the pretrial probation. I mean, when they first offered it to me on day one, they were offering me 6 months of pretrial probation. And then the case ended up lasting for like 10 months anyway. But it was the principle. It was the point. If it can be dismissed, why can't we just dismiss it now? Why is there a severe need for me to agree to them keeping tabs on me for a specified amount of time? So whatever. I decided to go with the pretrial probation. We agreed to 90 days. So as of the last court date that I had for that case, after those 90 days pass, the case is dismissed. I never have to go back to court for it, unless during those 90 days, I get in trouble, I get arrested, whatever. Then it would just like bring that case back up on the docket list, and I would have to go back into court and make a new deal or a new plan or see it to trial or, you know, whatever, right? Just basically, I would have to readdress that case if I got arrested in those 90 days. So this being done and agreed upon meant that my conditions of release for that arrest were gone now. There's no more conditions attached to that case. So I was now able to, according to the judge, go back to DESE, because while the case was going on, I had to stay away from DESE. That's according to the judge. But any establishment, business, entity, whatever, always has like the right to refuse service or the right to let you in, like in the moment. They can tell anybody to get out if they want to, right? And that if they're violating your rights or discriminating against you, it's up to you to, you know, make a civil motion in some way, you know, like sue them or whatever, file for discrimination. So it's not like a criminal offense for them to discriminate against you or for them to refuse to service you or refuse you entry or whatever. So in the moment, they're allowed to tell you that you can't come in, right? I don't know if I explained that well. Let me know if it's confusing. I'll try to explain it better. But I had planned on going to the DESE meeting today, and I knew that there was a chance that they weren't going to let me in. Even though the judge says I could be there, that doesn't mean that the people who run the place are going to let me in. It doesn't work like that. So the reason why I especially wanted to go today was because they're rolling out the new sex ed curriculum for all of the school districts across Massachusetts. It's already happening in some of them. I know Worcester County for one, but now they're doing it statewide, and they're calling it Maura Healey's new curriculum framework. But we know better. It's just like how they called Agenda 2030 Boston Vision 2030, Marty Walsh's vision for Boston, whatever the fuck, right? They just put like insert public official name here, and it's their plan, right? Maura Healey created this curriculum. So the long and short of it, and maybe I'll bring it up and actually go through it in a minute, I'm not sure, is basically, depending on what you guys want, if you want to look at it, basically, I skimmed through it, already knowing what it's going to be, because I've watched it happen in other places in the country and in the state. In pre-K, they will be talking to kids about gender identity. So pre-K is 3-year-olds, right? And they're heavily trying to start this whole like mandatory pre-K thing. And there's like a huge initiative in Boston. I don't know what's happening in the rest of the state, but there's a huge initiative in Boston for this pre-K pilot that they're doing, where they want to start mandating that kids start school in pre-K. Right now, it's still first grade. The kids don't like have to be enrolled in school until first grade. So kindergarten and pre-K is optional as of right now, but they are going to make pre-K and kindergarten law. Like they have to go starting in pre-K. So they're going to be teaching 3-year-olds gender identity. So think about a 3-year-old, right? Literally still a baby. They're going to tell your little 3-year-old that it doesn't matter how they were born. They can be whatever gender they want. Think about how the mind of a 3-year-old works, like how much that's going to fuck them up. Okay. And then another thing that I saw was 3rd grade sexual preference. So 3rd grade is like 8, 9, 10 years old. So an 8-year-old learning about different types of maybe intercourse, and that it can be done with whichever gender, right? An 8-year-old. So a lot of people have been trying to tell people for a long time now that this was coming, that this was happening, and because they couldn't see a reflection of it in their kids' schoolwork, they call us crazy, they call us conspiracy theorists, hateful people, anti-LGBTQ people. Like this has absolutely nothing to do with LGBTQ being hateful, being intolerant, nothing of those sorts. This is plain and simple indoctrination, over sexualization of children, and grooming. And I can guarantee you that if you talk to any parent with young children and explain to them how this is going to go, how this curriculum is set up, how it's going to work, and in what ways they're going to implement it, and how they're going to sneak it into every single subject in all these weird ways, that it's not just like a simple health course or anatomy course or a sex ed course, which I don't ever recall having a sex ed class in school, but I would assume that it was only happening in high school back when I was in school. I don't know. I dropped out in right after the 9th grade. So I barely even did the 10th grade. So I don't really remember. But there's not health, anatomy, biology, sex ed, none of that. It is indoctrination, grooming, over sexualization of children as young as 3 years old. Okay? If you haven't already, pull your kids out of school, homeschool, period. There's tons of resources. If you're watching this and you don't know of any resources, or you're thinking about it, or you're scared, like you think that you can't afford it, or you think that you I don't know, if whatever fucking reason you have to not pull your kids out and homeschool them, like please reach out to me, reach out to the people in my comments that are commenting. We can connect you to resources. We can help you. I am struggling through it myself, and I have many resources that I like haven't even used myself yet because I'm so busy and have so much going on. But I pulled my kids out in 2021, and everybody should do it. Like, this is your kid. This is your most precious possession. This is your gift from God. It's your responsibility and your duty to protect your child by any means necessary. And if it means being broke for a while to figure it out, or if it means having to leave your job, if it means having to be unemployed, fucking figure it out. Ask God for help. Pray. Whatever you need to do to figure it out. Okay? And I wouldn't stress somebody doing something that I haven't gone through myself. I am going through it myself. I've been going through it for the past few years. It needs to be done. These schools are not a place for our kids. It's not natural to leave your kids with strangers all day. It's not natural anyway. Like, even just like the idea of school, even without the sex ed curriculums, none of it's natural. None of it is what's supposed to be happening. Young children are supposed to be with their parents. Young children are supposed to be with their family, with people who love and care about them. And not that teachers are awful people. I'm sure there's some great people who are teachers. But ultimately, they're strangers. And we shouldn't be leaving our kids with strangers. Like, we need to do better. We need to treat our kids like the precious gift from God that they are. Yeah, so the curriculum's real. If you guys want to look at it, I can try to pull it up and we can look at it. This is my little pointy finger that I use for pointing to the things on the calendar. But yeah, so anyway, this is what they were talking about at the DESE meeting today. I was not allowed in the building today. The security guard was there to greet me and tell me that I wasn't coming in right when I got there. So I just stood outside. But and I haven't, the meeting is on video. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet though, but I do know of some people that were inside. And Planned Parenthood was there to talk about the curriculum, because you know that this curriculum stuff comes from them actually. And the Worcester like opt-out program people, Michael King from Mass Family Institute, they were there to oppose it or speak against it or whatever. And they didn't let me in the building. There were 2 women that had like spoken with me out front that I know. The security guard saw them talking to me and he wouldn't let them in. So I actually let's watch the video. Hold on. I'll make sure I actually share my screen this time. Please hold. He would not let the people that associated with me into the building. It was absolutely fucking ridiculous. Do. Please hold. Sorry. I'm struggling. Per usual. Hold on. I'm like trying to get it to go to the whole screen. Okay. Oh. Okay. Share the link to what, Lynn? I don't know if I love this blue purple background that I got going on here. What do you guys think? I think it's a little too much. All right. Let me know that you can hear this video that I'm playing.
What did you just say?
I think these ladies from anyway too, so I wanted to go to the bathroom before I went in.
Is this a private membership association? Because I don't see any notices on the door. So where does it let us know that if we're not a member, we can't enter?
And also, there's supposed to be a law that if somebody needs to use the bathroom that have illnesses like me, we're supposed to be.
Where is your supervisor? Yeah, we want to speak to your supervisor.
You've been told that you're not allowed on property right now.
Can you told me that you were sending somebody out and it's been what, an hour? Yeah, sure. So again, we're back at the Department of Education, and they've now told 1 and 2 people. This security guard is standing at the door, this tinted mirrored door that we can't see inside, is watching people enter the building. And if they stop by to say hello to me, he doesn't let them in. He just told her that because you're affiliated with Miss Vitale, you can't come in the building. And she even just said that she needs to use the bathroom. And he said no, because this is a privately owned building. His name's Paul Berry. He's the security guard here. He told me earlier that I couldn't come in, which I kind of expected anyway. And I asked to speak to his supervisor, and he won't tell me who his supervisor even is.
And there is a law on the books years ago that they made illnesses have to fight.
There's public accommodation laws.
Yeah.
Like in the he's fine to tell us we can't come in right now, but I can't wait to see him in court. It's going to be so fun. And he told me an hour ago that he was going to have somebody come out here and talk to me. I don't know if it was the police or what. Can you stop doing that, please?
I'm spinning it.
Don't do that, because that's rude. And even if we don't like people's attitudes, we don't spit at them.
No, we're just showing them how low they are.
Yeah. So he told me like an hour ago that he was going to send somebody out to talk to me, and he didn't. Oh, they have the doors locked. Hold on 1 second.
My volume's all the way up, so I don't know that I can adjust it any more than that.
So they got the handicap thing off. They have the doors locked.
Yeah, I gotta go.
All right. Thank you for coming. Thank you for getting barred in the name of me.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit because then we talk to the police after this.
He's just standing. And a handicapped accessible thing is.
So he told us that there were police inside and he was going to send them out to talk to us.
Hey
But
guys,
he
I just
never
have a
did.
question.
So we walked down the street
So,
to talk to these guys.
I was arrested here the last time I was here, and the security's telling me that I can't come in the
Sorry
building,
for
which
my
I have
bad camera
expected,
work.
whatever. But anybody who like stops to say hello to me, they're not letting in the building. Is there anything that you guys can do about that, or? Yeah, the security guard told me an hour ago he was going to send them out to talk to me, and he never did. He's just standing at the door watching to see if people talk to me, and if they do, he doesn't let them in the building. He's already told 2 people they can't come in.
And I wanted to go to the meeting, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I'm disabled, and they have this.
I know that you guys can't go like reprimand him or anything, but can you at least explain public accommodation law to him? She did. 2 people have tried to go in, and he won't let them in because he flat out told them because they're associated with me.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
That's exactly what he said on camera.
You're with that group, and you've been disrupted before.
Okay. Again, I don't know.
With that group, I did.
No, so
I'm just going by your words.
yeah, so I understand that you guys can't go actually like do anything, but I'm saying there's public accommodation laws for a reason. Maybe you guys could just explain that to him, that he is making himself liable right now.
Again, I'm not saying that happened, but if you've been into a particular property and you cause a disturbance, they have the right to not allow you back in also. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's what I'm hearing based on what she said. Last time they not let you.
No, they never kicked me out. They've always let me, well, they didn't let us in one time.
Back in 2021 because of masks and shit.
Yeah, because of the mask, I can't wear a mask.
Anybody who associates with me
I almost didn't get it.
in front of the front door, they're not
So I'm
letting
gonna
in.
fast forward a little bit again. So they ended up
Oh, he gave you a problem too.
going into the building, and then they came out and
I asked
said
them- I asked him to speak to his
that there's cops. in
parents.
there.
Come here.
So,
I can't
like,
bar
you know, we can't
accommodation.
really do
Stan, it's not a
anything.
criminal offense. Yeah. And of course, now that something's happened with your phone. But you can go inside and record, is what I'm saying.
So they're like, yeah, no, there's a lieutenant inside, so there's nothing that we can do.
I don't know.
Okay. Did you explain to him public accommodation law? They're aware of public accommodation law? Can I speak to them?
I'm not leaving.
Well, I asked him. He told me he would send them out, but he hasn't. It's been over an hour.
She was also asking to use the bathroom. They wouldn't let her use the bathroom.
Why aren't I allowed in here?
Are you the lieutenant? What's your name and badge number, sir? What's your name and badge number?
They're not allowing you in. You need to get out the door.
Lieutenant Luongo with the Malden Police.
I'm telling you, you need to leave.
Then I didn't want
So you just enforce policy without questioning anything?
You need to leave. You're not supposed to be here. I just called the court. You're not supposed to be near the building, right?
No, that's not true.
That is 100% true.
No, it's not. I'm on pretrial probation. There's no conditions. I am allowed to be here. It's the people in the building. No, there isn't. There's no conditions. It's the people in the building that said I can't be here, and I didn't argue that. I've not. I walked up.
Because tomorrow you're going to be getting word from them that you're not supposed to be here, okay?
There's no
You need
conditions.
to get off the door.
Watch out, guys. Stand behind me, please.
Did you get his badge number?
Lieutenant Luongo,
I'm
yeah.
just here working, okay? Everybody's here working. Can you guys just go?
Excuse me.
Everybody's here working.
No, I can't. Because I wanted to come in here and you're discriminating against me. I'm being discriminated against.
All right. That's your opinion, okay?
No, it's
No,
the
that's
law.
not fair.
Stop enforcing policy and enforce law.
Say the Constitution!
What's your name and badge number?
Lamore tonight.
What was it?
Lamore.
Lemoore and Oliveri. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
that's what happened
yet.
with that one. And then that that lieutenant told me that I'm not supposed to be there. He just called the court. Told me that I would be hearing from the DA's office tomorrow. We'll see, because we made it clear in court that there were no conditions, and that I was allowed to go back. So we have it all on video, whatever. I wasn't trying to get in. I walked up with the intention of going in, but once the security guard told me that I couldn't go in, I didn't attempt any further. I just asked to speak to a supervisor. That was it. So, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious why today would be a day that they wouldn't want me there. Because of the agenda and the fact that, you know, the big topic today was the new curriculums with all the sex ed stuff. And I didn't really see anybody talking about this meeting. I haven't really seen anybody talking about the curriculum. They've done this very quietly. So quietly that they're calling it Mara Haley's curriculum framework, and she's out of the country. She's not even here. She wasn't at this meeting to roll out her new curriculum framework. She's in Ireland. So they're doing this very quietly. There was no media there. Usually when there's a big thing happening at these meetings, there's media there. No media at all. Or as far as I could see from the outside, it didn't look like there were any media there. And Mara Healy, the supposed master of this plan, is out of the country for its debut into the Department of Education. So they're trying to sneak this by people, as they always do with outrageous stuff like this. And they're giving, I heard that in the meeting they said that they're going to give a 60-day public comment period for people to send in their opinions, responses, opposition, support, whatever. They'll give 60 days for it, and then the board is going to vote on it. So I'm thinking that they will probably have a special meeting at some point over the summer. So please watch out for that. And when they have the special meeting to take the vote, people need to show up. Especially if they're going to be taking extra effort to lock people out. And if you do show up and you see me outside, don't come talk to me, because then they might not let you in the building. Yeah, so that's basically what's happening. People, you need to spread the word. You need to be outraged. This is rolling out for the entire state of Massachusetts. I did talk to Michael King, who was there for the opt-out program. So basically, I'm pretty sure that any parent in any school district at any point can choose to opt their child out of anything that happens in school. Like, you just write a letter that says you don't want your child participating in this, you know, whatever. So that's their initiative. They've gotten like a couple thousand people to it's like 4,000 people in like Worcester district schools or whatever to opt their kids out of the sex ed curriculum, which is cool, great. But my issue with that is, what about parents who haven't heard? Like, if you're not like specifically knocking the door of every single parent in the school district and letting them know what's happening, there's probably thousands more that don't know that this is happening. So if you're not aware that it's happening, or you're not aware that you have a choice in the matter and you can opt your child out, then you're shit out of luck. So sure, I will talk about the opt-out program, and I will tell people how you can do it. If you want information from them or a form from them that you can use, like a simple form to send in to opt your kid out, you want to text whatever municipality or school district that you're in. So I would text Boston to 87891, and they will send you the form, or like the link to the information for your school district. And then you can get in touch with them that way if you want to, if you're interested in opting your kid out, if you're still in the position where you have your kids in these prison indoctrination centers. And I'll let people know about opt out, but I think that it's controlled opposition, honestly. Like, if you're not, like, if you understand how bad something is, you should be trying to alert the masses of people. Okay, you should be causing a big commotion. You should be getting people to show up. You should be Paul Revering it, like running through the streets screaming about it. Like, listen, they're trying to overly sexualize your child. Take action now. Like, and the opt-out program is kind of just like a lazy way to protect only yourself. And I'm not interested in protecting only myself. I'm interested in making sure that other parents are aware of what's happening and that they're doing all that they can to protect their own child. My children don't go to school. I homeschool them. I strongly, strongly advocate for people to choose to homeschool their children. There's many resources. There's homeschool pods. There's homeschool activities, all kinds of things. If you do have to work, you could probably find other homeschooling parents that are willing to do homeschooling activities, or that are already doing homeschool activities where other parents drop their kids off, or, it's kind of like, at least that way, that you have somebody who's like-minded, who you can actually get to know on a personal level, who can maybe watch your kids while you're working, homeschool your kids while you're working, whatever. Homeschool your kids, please. But where was I going with that? I think everybody should homeschool, but if your kids are still there, everybody deserves to know what's happening. Everybody deserves to know that they do have options. The link for the new DESE curriculum. Let's see. Where did I see it? Let me see if I can Google it. Please hold. Actually, maybe if I look on the DESE agenda. Let me see. Here, I'll let you see the screen so you're not just staring at my boring, stupid face. This is very important. Thank you, Lynn. The problem with opt-out is that they have integrated it into regular courses like math, English, etc. This is very true. Perfect example is one that I used when I was talking with Michael King earlier, is that when my son was attending Boston Public Schools and he was in kindergarten, 5 years old, I noticed one of his math problems. Now, this was 2020. This was before I had ever heard of CRT, before I had ever heard of the sex ed curriculums and the social emotional learning and comprehensive sex education. I didn't know about any of this stuff yet. Okay. I was not an activist. I was working 7 days a week. And I knew nothing. Right. And I noticed one of his math problems said something like, Johnny painted 3 of his fingernails. How many fingernails does he have left on his hand to paint? And I was just like, the fuck is Johnny painting his fingernails in a math problem? Like, what kind of sick shit? All right, I mean, like, again, nothing against anybody who wants to live their life in a non-traditional way, okay? But it's weird. It's indoctrination, and it's putting these different thoughts into kids' heads that they shouldn't be exposed to yet, okay? Because remember that, like, I always say transgenderism. I don't know what it's called. What is it called? Somebody tell me in the comments what it's called. It's a mental illness. Gender dysphoria? Is that what it's called? It's a mental illness. Let's stop acting like it's not. You know? It's like if somebody is labeled crazy or has lost their mind and thinks that they're a dog, like, are we going to be okay with them peeing on the fire hydrant? Because inclusion, it's literally the same thing. Like, you know, I'm not saying to treat people any differently if they want to live in a non-traditional way, but we don't need to normalize mental illness to 5-year-olds or 3-year-olds or children who do not have the capacity to understand these things yet. You know? So anyway, let's see. Oh, Missouri. How many of you saw that before I did? Missouri. Here we are. Not Missouri. 2023. Let's see. Is this it? Hold on. I'm waiting for it to come up. Nope. Nope. That's not what I wanted. Hold on. Hold on. Dysphoria. Hold on. Okay, this is interesting. Hold on. I don't think that you can see what I'm see, right? Let me change. Oh, hold on. It will only let me show. Oh, wait. Okay. So okay. Now, this is a PowerPoint presentation that I'm assuming they showed in the meeting today. I'm going to continue to look for the actual framework. But this presentation is interesting because, okay, so it starts up here. Comprehensive Health and Physical Education Framework Revision Overview. Provide an overview of revision priorities and considerations, outline the proposed framework, organization and scope, district leader perspective, board discussion, and vote on a motion to solicit public comment. Okay. Yeah, so this is the presentation for today's meeting. So the last time we had a new curriculum for comprehensive health was 1999. Not surprised. Highlights key skills and content that promotes mental health and wellness and helps students understand, identify, and seek help from mental health concerns in themselves or others. So, translation turns your child into a mental health patient because their objective is to convince every human that there's something wrong with them and they need some type of help, medication, or medical intervention. Now, what's interesting about this, right, is that when they give you the example standard of grades pre-K through 2, make health promoting, informed, responsible decisions and solve problems in a variety of health related situations. Identify principles of balanced eating, moderation, eating a variety of fruits and vegetables, blah, 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 all about health and nutrition. That's all they tell you for pre-K through 2. Grades 3 through 5, enhance relationships, personal health, and the health of others through social awareness and effective communication. Identify characteristics of healthy relationships with a variety of individuals, right? So in this presentation, grades pre-K through 5 say absolutely nothing about gender identity or sexual orientation or sexual health or whatever. That stuff doesn't get introduced in this presentation until grades 6 through 8, where we're saying examine how emotions, thoughts, needs, values, beliefs, and other factors, both internal and external, influence behaviors and articulate how these influences impact health behavior and outcomes. Gender, sexual orientation, and sexual health. Explain how perceptions and social norms influence thoughts, attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors towards sexual orientation, sexual health, and sexual activity. So they scaled it way back from what's actually in the framework. They make it look like these things aren't even introduced until grade 6. Even still, grade 6 is too fucking young for any stranger to be talking to your child about sexual orientation, sexual health, and sexual activity. Too fucking young. How old are you in grade 6? 12, 13, 14? something like that. 11, 12, 11 or 12, right? Okay, so and then they don't even talk about that stuff at all in the overview for high school, right? So it's kind of like that thing where they give you a little bit of risky information to make it look like they're being completely honest, right? The fuckery. Okay, they give you like they're like, oh, you know, sexual health in grades 6 through 8. See, they're not trying to hide anything, you know? So, now where is, all right, I'm just going to Google then, Healy, MA, comprehensive curriculum framework. Hold on, where are you? Sorry. So now we're going to look at this one. Can you see? No, you can't see. We're going to look at this one. No, they didn't vote today. They're allowing a 60-day period for public comment. We don't know yet when they're going to vote. Okay, so I have this one here that I just pulled up. But notice it says at the top, public comment draft. So I want to see if this is different from the one that I saw. If they have two different things for what the public is going to see and what it actually is. It is. It's totally different. This is the public comment draft. Sorry, I'm so quiet. I'm just trying to skim through it without like sitting here and reading it all out loud. Sorry, I know this is like getting boring, but okay, actually it's not different. So we have here, who's still with me? Is anybody still here? Okay. I still have 6 people watching this. All right. So right now I'm looking at the public comment draft of Maura Healey and Kim Driscoll's curriculum framework, which is basically rolling in the over-sexualization of children Yes, I can send you the link. So we have right here, practice 3. This is for pre-K. Wait a minute. Yeah, this is for grades pre-K through 2. Okay, so you get down here and we have practice 3, social awareness, relationship and communication skills. Enhance relationships, personal health, and the health of others through social awareness and effective communication. Gender, sexual orientation, and sexual health. Discuss gender role stereotypes and their potential impacts on people of all genders, not both genders, all genders. Demonstrate empathy and ways to treat all people with dignity and respect. Define, and then down here under healthy relationships, number 2, we have define and demonstrate simple ways to communicate personal boundaries and respect the boundaries of others, including physical, verbal, sexual, and emotional boundaries. Example, explain why it is important to tell others not to touch their body when they do not want to be touched, and why it is important to stop touching someone when they indicate the touch is unwelcome. Explain how no one has a right to violate personal boundaries and demonstrate an appropriate refusal. Example, tell a trusted adult, say no, leave the situation when someone says or does something that does not respect personal boundaries. Identify groups to which one belongs and reflect on similarities and differences with others. Discuss stereotypes, prejudice, discrimination, equality, and inequality, and how these can affect relationships and situations. Acknowledge diversity, including but not limited to racial, ethnic, religious, and cultural differences and traditions, and demonstrate respect for others. Demonstrate awareness of and ways to show and respect for all types of families. Example, families with heterosexual parents, families with same-gender parents, single-parent families, intergenerational families, adoptive families, foster families. Predict how someone else may feel in a variety of situations and display compassionate and empathetic behaviors. Yeah, I don't think that I need to go on reading this whole thing, but that is some of the framework for pre-K through 2nd grade. So they downplay it though. So it's much more than just like those simple lines, and those simple lines are too much anyway when you think about what they'll actually be talking about. I'm going to try to paste a link in the comments. Oh, that worked fine. No, it goes to YouTube. No, oh, it goes to both. Okay. So let me know if that link doesn't work and I'll post it later. I'll post it on my social media later anyway. But so if you're not aware of the 3 R's, because that's a big part of this curriculum, the 3 R's, not reading, writing, arithmetic. The 3 R's are rights. I got my little pointer. Rights, respect, and responsibility. Okay. If you need me to elaborate, rights is they're going to be teaching them that people have, civil rights. It's going to be all about discrimination though. Like teaching about equality, right? The rights of protected classes, minorities, and other groups of people. Not rights in general, but like discrimination type rights, those types of things, right? What is it? Rights, respect, and responsibility. Respect is where they're going to teach them that like you have to respect everybody who is a part of one of these like protected classes or minorities or whatever. And where they teach you basically that you have to like overcompensate for hate, bow down to people who are less than you because they belong to a minority group. Respect their pronouns, things like that. And responsibility is the best one. Okay, responsibility is where they teach them anti-hate, anti-racism. So it's not good enough to not be racist. You have to be anti-racist. It's not good enough to not hate gay people. You have to be anti-LGBTQ. Anti, double negative. You have to hate. Basically, you have to combat hate. If you see or hear somebody being hateful, if somebody even utters the words, I don't like gay people or I don't like black people, you have to confront them. You have to make it right. You have to make them understand that that kind of attitude is not welcome here. And you're not a good person if you are not calling out hate in any way, shape, or form. Every time you see or hear it, you must call it out. You have to be anti-hate. You have to act on being anti-hate because it's not good enough to just not be a hateful person. You have to shame and cancel and call out people who do appear to be hateful. So those are the 3 R's: rights, respect, and responsibility. This is what they're teaching your kids. So, again, please homeschool your kids. Pull them out now. Stop letting them indoctrinate them. It's going to keep getting worse and worse. You will soon have a child that you don't even recognize. It's dangerous. I don't know what else I can say. This is also exhausting. How about take care of your family and teach them values? Well, yeah, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. But the government is the parent of kids in school. And don't think the private schools are any different because they get government funding, which means that they have to adhere to government rules and regulations. So the same stuff is going to be rolled out in private schools and charter schools alike. So don't think that just because you got out of public schools, but now you're in a private or a charter school, that it's going to be different. No, it might be hidden better. You might have more instances of sneaking things in, like a math problem that says Johnny painted 3 fingernails, but it's going to be there. It's going to be talked about. Every single class, every single lesson is another opportunity for them to drill this shit into your kid's head. They want your kids. They're coming for your kids. They're here for your kids. Protect your kids by any means necessary. It's supposed to be up to the parent to instill morals and thoughts, behaviors, and opinions, ways of thinking, and ways of feeling. It's up to the parents to decide when their child is ready to have to talk about the birds and the bees and to learn about these types of things. The government wants to get your children as young as 2-3 years old in preschool and start drilling their own agenda into these kids' brains and then attack them and not attack them, but get a hold on them and correct the problem if they get out of line and if they disagree with any of this narrative. We just saw a couple weeks ago, there was a kid in Plymouth or something who wore a shirt to school that said there are only 2 genders or something like that. And I don't know why I just said this because I don't know what the end of that story was. There's like a lawsuit about it now. I don't even remember. If somebody has the details, please put them in the comments because my brain is mush right now. If your kid tries to go to school, like if your kid is strong-minded and tries to go to school and go against the grain and have their own opinion, they will be corrected. You're not allowed to think for yourself with this government. Shamed and removed. Yes. Yeah. So a lot of kids who are transitioning are autistic. I think a lot of kids are autistic and a lot of kids are transitioning. I think that we're seeing record numbers of both of those things because of jabs. Not the most recent, all of them. I think that both of those things are a result of jabs that have already been on the schedule for a while, and we're failing to pay attention to what we're injecting into our children. And I think that the diagnosis for autism is like so broad at this point. We're all autistic. Like, I don't mean that to offend anybody, but honestly, like, I feel like it's so broad, and that the goal of every doctor's appointment is to diagnose and medicate, you know? So because doctors work to generate a profit for big pharma, they don't work to get people healthy. They work to maintain sickness. Yeah. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you completely. That's what I'm saying, is that these things are happening because of that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I use these when I'm homeschooling to point at the calendar and the days of the week. And usually it's up on my mantle next to my wall calendar, but right now it's on my desk. So I can't help myself. Anyway, yeah. So homeschool your kids. And if you're not sure how to start, like, reach out to me or somebody in my comments who is also advocating for homeschooling. It's not as hard as it seems, or it is. I don't know. I'm struggling. But I don't see any other option. I don't. And somebody was talking today about like these crazy drills that they do too. I know that like back in 2020 we were hearing about people were getting a letter saying that at some point there's going to be a drill at the schools where the kids are going to be taken to an undisclosed location. You can reach out to me or Shannon for homeschooling info. Shannon actually can probably get you resources faster than I can because I have a lot going on. I'm campaigning. I'm a candidate for Boston City Council at large. So you can message me on Facebook or message Shannon on Facebook. You can go to my campaign website, vitallyforboston.com, and fill out a form there. There's a little comment section. And I can put you in touch with Shannon, send you some stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of resources. There's tons of homeschooling families. And the greatest thing about homeschooling families is that, like, they're dying to have, like, other homeschooling friends. So that's like the biggest thing with homeschooling families is, like, the need to make sure that you're adequately socializing your kids and getting them out and interacting with other kids, and you yourself interacting with other families that are having the same struggles as you are, being a homeschooling family. So there's tons of people who are dying for new homeschoolers to come and get advice and guidance from them, and build a relationship, friendship. And there's activities, people have like library meetups and field trips. There's a homeschooling group that there's a few groups that set up these like trips and stuff, because if you bring like a large number of people to a resort or something, like you get discounted rates. And a few weeks ago, a homeschooling group had like a really good discount for a group of people to go to Great Wolf Lodge. And that was super fun, and something that I would never be able to afford if I was paying the regular rates. So I got to bring my kids to Great Wolf Lodge, and we had a fantastic little vacation that I would never have been able to afford if it weren't for that homeschooling group. So there's all kinds of things that homeschooling families do. And the thing about homeschooling too is that it doesn't have to look like school. If you've never heard of unschooling, that's a thing, where you kind of like go through the transition period of taking your kid out of traditional school and like getting used to being a non-traditional homeschooling family. Like think about it. Bedtimes, waking up super early in the morning, having like scheduled like things throughout the day. Like I like a routine, I like a schedule, don't get me wrong, but it's so much less stress on a child's developing brain to not have to have these everyday worries of getting up early, getting on the school bus, or, getting their clothes on and teeth brushed and breakfast all done by the time that they have to get out for school, not be late for school. All of, there's no stress. There's no stress. You don't have to have your kid sitting at a desk for 6 to 8 hours a day. You don't have to, like, if you think about it, like school is designed as a one size fits all approach. So it's like some kids in school will spend months on a curriculum that they understood as soon as they saw it, but they have to spend a certain amount of time on it to make sure that everybody gets it, right? You and your kid, like my son, it picks up like everything so fast. I barely even need to teach him. Like he teaches himself, literally. Hey, before I even like started going over addition and subtraction with him, he started figuring out multiplication and division on his own. Like, I mean, kids are brilliant. Yeah, I think my kids are extra special and geniuses. Yeah. But kids' brains are like sponges. They want to learn. They will teach themselves. So homeschooling doesn't have to look like anything. It is what you want it to be. If you want to spend 2 hours reading books at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's your homeschooling for the day, then that's your homeschooling for the day. If you want to do flashcards and like, I just found these in the dollar store the other day, Dollar Tree, $1. I have so many sets of flashcards from the dollar store. You find stuff all over the place. And it's so much fun, and there's no stress. There's literally no stress. You don't have to do things at a certain time. You do it whenever you feel like it. And your kids are going to learn. They're going to learn at their own speed, at their own time. You're not putting any stress on their brain to be forced to learning something when they don't feel like they're ready to learn it yet. And every life experience, any event at any day could be educational. My kids go to city council meetings. My kids go to school board meetings. My kids go to protests. My kids go to public actions that I do. They go to libraries. They mingle with other homeschooling families. You know, they have this here, like library of books that they can go through at any amount of time. I mean, even if kids are in school, you could have a collection of books at home. But I mean, we do what we want when we want, and they're learning at a perfectly fine speed. And they don't have the stress of having to be in school 5 days a week. You know? Yeah, I have to go to sleep too. Like, I have no business still being on here right now. Thank you. Yeah, I made like this room that I'm in into like a classroom setting because of my whole adult life. Like, I've been a manager of a Dunkin' Donuts or like a manager of offices all over the place. So I like the school setting, but like it's pretty much like for nothing because we don't sit in here all day and like do school. Like I just like, I just think it looks cool, and there's constantly like there's all kinds of things to look at for them, So even if we're like downtime, I have posters all over the wall for them to constantly be like exploring different things. And yeah, it's pretty cool. They get to do whatever they want whenever they want, and they don't have to be stressed like kids in school do, or deal with bullies when the teacher is too busy to pay attention to something, things like that. So yeah, I think that everybody should homeschool, and I can definitely put you in contact with Shannon if you want to learn more about resources and whatnot, especially with the school that you're dealing with. Yeah, you should get out of there. But yeah, it's super late. It's 1:00 in the morning. I'm so surprised that I still even have people on here. I said I was coming on at 10 and I didn't come on until 11. So I'm sorry for that. And I did talk about earlier, if anybody that's on now wasn't on earlier, I talked about the political hit list that me and other people are on that went from the mayor's office to the Boston Police Department. And, go watch the replay of this video after I post it if you want to learn about the political hit list that we're on. And the meeting at DESE today that was about the sex ed curriculum that they wouldn't let me into the building for. What happened at the parking garage? Oh, damn it. I was going to talk about that. I planned on talking about that. All right. I won't leave yet. I'll smoke another cigarette while I'm talking about the parking garage. So when we were leaving City Hall yesterday, we were all parked at the Haymarket parking garage across the street from City Hall. And I left kind of like before everybody else. I think that they were going to go get something to eat. And I was trying to get out of there because I needed to get home to do dinner and stuff for my kids. And so I was already gone when this happened. But they tried to go live on Samantha's Facebook a couple times, but there was bad reception. So one of them was trying to pay in cash because she doesn't do like credit cards, debit cards, or anything like that. She only carries cash, only pays for everything in life with cash. Apparently, this parking garage is cashless. So they would not take her cash to pay the $33 for her parking. So they were holding up the whole line, and they were like threatening to call the police, saying that she was refusing to pay. And she's like, oh, yeah, I have $33 right here. I'm not refusing to pay. And it turned into like a whole big thing, backed up the whole garage. I think that like a stranger at some point had offered to pay for her just so that they could get out of there. And it's like, it's not about that. Like, you know, we're getting into very muddy waters and a very scary place when we talk about and think about turning into a cashless society. And if you're for that, like, please get with it because it's not a good place to be. We need to keep cash. We need to, that needs to be a huge fight that needs to be had because they are moving toward making us cashless, and that's very dangerous. But yeah, they wouldn't let her pay with cash. So they did call the police. She did end up like pulling over to the side because the police made them lift the gate. They wouldn't lift the gate for her to pull over. Like the people behind her couldn't back up to let her like back up into the parking lot, and they wouldn't lift the gate for her to pull over. So everything was backed up. And then when the police came, they're like, you need to move, like telling her that she needs to move. And she's like, I can't move. They won't lift the gate. And they refused to lift the gate because they thought that like what she was going to go on a high speed chase or something over $33 that she was trying to give them. But they wouldn't take her cash. So they tried to video it. I wasn't there. I had already left. One of the girls' phones died, and then they tried to go live on another phone, and the reception was so bad it kept like freezing and cutting off. So there's a little bit of video of it, but not much. And by the time that the issue was resolved, nobody was recording anything. And I'm pretty sure that a couple of the other people that we were with, everybody is always recording everything, and people don't even have space on their phones anymore. But somebody else ended up paying for her with a card because at that point, like, she just needed to get home. It was just a bad day to have that fight, but the fight needs to be had. So if anybody's involved in joining that fight, let me know. Because if we, and also let me know if you know of any other business that are cashless, because that fight needs to happen on all levels. If you know of a business that's cashless, like, it needs to be addressed and it needs to be stopped in its tracks. Yeah, so that's the situation with the parking lot. Did you have any other questions or anything that I didn't answer about any of the things that have happened in the past couple of days? Since now I'm smoking a cigarette, so I'm not going to sign off yet. Rest stops, stores, and Washington Bridge in New Jersey has gone cashless. Interesting. New Jersey is a state of fighters, so I'm interested to see if they'll be fighting that. Yeah, definitely contact me about homeschooling, and I'll connect you with Shannon because she has way more resources like at the tip of her mind than I do because I'm like a disaster always. Yeah. And since I have nothing else to say and I have this right in front of me, I don't even know why it's on my desk because I'm not reading it. I was probably showing it to somebody. If you haven't ever read this, the autobiography of Malcolm X, even if you have read it, you need to read it again. You need to read it post-pandemic and see how much is happening now that we are repeating from back then. and learn that Malcolm X was not what we have led to believe that he was. He was actually one of the more prominent fighters that we should be honoring in the way that we honor Martin Luther King Jr. But he fought in a way that actually worked and was effective. And Martin Luther King Jr. stayed tame and did a lot of things that I don't want to say didn't weren't effective. He fought in ineffective ways that they try to teach us are effective to keep us tame, for like the easiest way to explain it. So I literally tell everybody that I talk to that they need to read this book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X. I'm like, what else is on my desk that I can talk about? Oh, if you need a Shame on Woo bumper sticker, I still have a couple left. Or a pocket constitution. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm just about done with my cigarette. So if you guys have no more questions or anything else to talk about, I'm going to go. I'm probably like keeping people awake right now too because I'm loud. But I'll probably be back next week, hopefully, or the next time something outrageous happens or something that needs to be talked about. I don't know. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, People's Press Media. Please help spread the word and support my campaign amongst people in Boston. I'm running for Boston City Council at large, and my friend Sean Nelson is also running for Boston City Council at large. And my other friend, Padma Scott, is now on the ballot officially for Boston City Council District 7. So she is running to unseat Tanya Fernandez Anderson. So we definitely need tons of help and support. If anybody is available for volunteering, or if you could share my website, their websites are not up yet. We don't have any links for them yet, but my website is scrolling on the screen. It's vitaliforboston.com. You can see my stances on some things. It needs to be updated a little bit. Again, if I haven't said this already, I am my own campaign manager. I don't have a machine or a massive team working on this campaign. I'm doing pretty much everything by myself. So, and I'm not a web developer or designer. So I did my own website. Forgive me if it looks like shit. I don't know how to make a website. So I did my best. Don't judge me. And if you can, please donate to the campaign, because I also don't have money to spend on the campaign. And if you can't, please share the link and try to help me get some support and contributions. And same for Padma and Sean once their websites are up. So, and they'll probably also be doing their own websites, because we are actual grassroots campaigns that are happening, and we don't have a machine. We have no party backing. We have no major amount of help behind what we're doing. So any help that we can get with these campaigns is much appreciated. Even if it's just sharing a link and spreading the word. But I am going to go now, get some sleep, and I'll be out and about tomorrow. If anybody's available and wants to join me, just let me know. I'm always looking for people to join me now that I am going to all kinds of meetings and things while I'm campaigning. So if you ever have some time to spare and want to join me and help spread the word about our campaigns, let me know and I will gladly send you my calendar so you can join me. But I'm going to go to bed now, and I'll see you guys when I see you. Thanks for watching, and thanks for staying up late with me. Bye.